Hello, it's me again. I want to talk about love, even though I'm really sad. I do believe that there's a purpose for everything that's happened to me in my life and me being by myself now for so long. Because, we get our love, or we think we get our love from the people around us, but they really only touch the love that's inside of us. I've talked about God is love a lot. I remember explaining to was my daughter-in-law many years ago when she talked about how much she loved my son, and you know how scary that is when you love somebody so much. And I talked to her about he just touched the love that was already abiding inside of her, and that we are all love and God is love. And it was a good conversation. What I've got to find out now, with many years of not having a romantic relationship or kids, grandkids, things that spark that love inside of you. I've gone into some really dark places. I remember the accident I was in 2001. And in that accident, it was 65 miles an hour head on. I felt God's presence. And, people talk about the fear of God because, whatever, God is all power, omnipotent. When I felt the presence of God, there was no fear. None at all. There was a knowing. It's so hard to put into words. There was just a knowing that everything that was happening for a reason. And I can't explain it other than that, because the people in the other car died there. One of them, the other one on the way to the hospital or something. And there was a minister or a clergy person at that emergency room that asked to come in and talk to me, because according to the officers that were at the site, my body took the most of the inertia of the accident. My ribs literally collapsed, like, my chest touched itself around the seatbelt. And so the minister, the clergyman there, he said he wanted to meet the woman who didn't have a broken bone. There was not, like, the shoulder, the collarbone or something supposed to break with 10 pounds of pressure, wasn't broken. Ribs separated the sternum, a lot of different kind of injuries. My back had a fracture that didn't bother me until years later. I couldn't use my arms, nerve damage. But, he said he wanted to meet me because there must be a reason. I was, like, awake, talking, having had just taken that explosion into my body. So it's been really hard today. Is it gonna be a year right up where I lost my mom? And last year was so insane. When I got back from Colorado, the person I was renting a room from here in Florida put a note on the door and told me I couldn't come inside until I went and got a COVID test. I mean, I just lost my mother 13, 14, 2 days before that, and here I was. So I went to a hotel with Teddy, and it didn't have heat. They were having troubles with the heat because it's Florida and they're not used to having to use the heat, but was getting down to 30 degrees. So there was so many things going on. I don't think that I did a lot of grieving. I was in survival mode. So just today, this sadness just came over me and grief and missing my mother. You know, and there's a season for everything. There's a season to be happy, and there's a season to reap, to sow. You know that one song. It's a great song. And with all of this, it was just getting me so sad. And then I remembered the accident. I remembered the moment I was on their highway when it had just happened, and I felt God's presence and the knowing inside, just a knowing of the Spirit that everything that was happening was supposed to be happening. And there was no fear. There was awe. I had a huge sense of awe. And that's what I think they're talking about when they talk about the fear of God, because the presence of God is so powerful. You're just in awe. But there was no fear. There was no fear for me. It was just awe. So, you know, I had been making myself busy watching movies. I was going to go watch the sunset at Hudson Beach. But when I remembered that moment of everything that's happening is supposed to be happening. Now, I know that could be really crazy to try and believe right now in this world. And it, you know, not at the moment then because I was in this presence, but that would like be really crazy. Like, how is this supposed to be happening? 2 young people in the other car died and they left a small child. That, you know, that's not God. That doesn't make sense. But it's not as if God caused the accident. How do I put it into word? There's just no words for it. It's a knowing that, like, purpose, there's a reason, there's a season. And when I remembered that feeling, and I connected back to that feeling just a little while ago, and the sadness went away. I mean, I still feel grieving the loss of my mom. I'm not going to lie about that. Not feeling very Christmassy, but that's okay. There's a time for grief. But it doesn't feel like I need to go get somebody or sit with somebody or talk to somebody, because that feeling of it is what it's, God is right here. All power. No fear, though. No fear. Extreme power. Major power. I wish I had a word for it. I mean, it's called omnipotent. All powerful. Okay, well, that's a word most people know. But have you ever felt that word? All power. But in the same moment, such everything's okay. Such love. All power. Such love. So, there's a peace that came on me. While I'm grieving, there's also a peace. And then, of course, what happens? Spirit says, okay, talk about it. So, whatever you're going through, look up. Ask God to help you. What I actually did was I let my Bible fall open. I'm really liking the Bible now, as I've not been a big Bible person. and it fell open to a page. I don't even remember the verse. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. But it talked about what I experienced on the highway. And then I remembered it. The feeling came over me. So you don't have to run around and control things. You don't have to try and, you do what you need to do. Due diligence in your life and your responsibilities. And just know God is here. No matter what it looks like, God is here. And God has got you. Even if you're hurting. I hope this helps somebody. It's helped me. And I do. I love everybody. I love you. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Love, love, love.